April 15th, Tax Day, City Commission meeting. Welcome, everyone. Tammy, the roll call, please.
Epley?
Here.
Gunther?
Here.
James?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
Simmons?
Here.
If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The minutes from the March 18th meeting were sent. Do I hear a motion for approval of the minutes?
There were
no
no
minutes.
Did we do the 18th last time?
I don't think they weren't done. Yes, we did the 18th last time.
That's from the first.
That's the ones that you don't have any.
Oh, boy.
I've got to take it off.
I got a very nice note
Tricky.
with an explanation.
Just
I
forgot to
emailed
delete
everybody.
this.
I emailed
Yeah.
you that, he said it's
Yeah.
off the agenda.
We're good.
Set me up. Next, the special orders today are very special. An old friend of mine is being honored. It was brought to us by the Parks and Rec Board for the Citizen Recognition Award. And I knew Tom as an ER nurse and as a great administrator of the hospital for my whole career. And Mark, you know him as a city
commissioner and mayor and advocate for the neighborhoods, Good Neighbors Association, and he did a lot for Big Rapids. And it was always a proponent for the city parks. So the Park and Rec Board picked a good one.
So the Park and Rec Board at their meeting chooses a person each year as their honored citizen. And this year, the City of Big Rapids Certificate of Appreciation going to Tom Hoganson in the recognition of the commitment and dedication of enhancing the quality of life for all Big Rapids residents and visitors. And the family is here, and thank every one of you for coming and honoring Tom and all his hard work. Other commissioners, comments? Yes.
If you wouldn't mind standing up and giving them the certificate so
sure.
you can get a photo. It's part of the recognition and program for the Arbor Day.
Very good. I'll go there. Hi.
Thank you so much. Oh, this is lovely. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Fantastic.
I just wanted to say on behalf of the family, this work meant so much to Tom. And this award would mean so much to him. He'd be really happy right now. I also want to say that when he was a young boy, his parents taught him the importance of service to others. And that kind of was a theme or a thread that ran all through his life. And I know he would want me to thank the Park and Rec Board and the Commission and the city for this honor. But he'd also like me to commend you for your service to others. And we appreciate this award. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Next, the GFWC Federation Day proclamation. This is a long one, Mark. You want to read the whole thing?
Sure. I think there's folks from GFWC, you're welcome up here, and I can present it at the end, because the mayor's right, there's a lot of whereases here, but we'll jump into it. Proclamation declaring April 24th, 2024 as GFWC Federation Day. Whereas the General Federation of Women's Club, Big Rapids Incorporated, and its members have enhanced the citizens and community of Big Rapids and the surrounding communities for 53 years through their commitment to volunteer service, which include maintenance of the Riverwalk and Post Office Garden, reading programs at the Big Rapids Community Library, support of children's programs at Artworks, support of our Brothers Keepers Shelter, WISE, Children's Foster Care Programs, Project Starburst, Manna Pantry, Warm Clothing for Area Children, area veterans, and various national organizations that meet the needs of children and families in the United States and abroad. And whereas in 2023, the members of GFWC Big Rapids Incorporated had 107 projects, volunteered for 4,097 hours, provided over $10,000 in direct donations, as well as over $10,000 in in-kind donations. Whereas GFWC Big Rapids and its affiliate member clubs in all 50 states, District of Columbia, in more than a dozen countries, are at the forefront of grassroots community service, providing support to arts, preserve natural resources, advance education, promote healthy lifestyles, encourage civic involvement in legislative issues of importance to women, children, and families throughout the world. Therefore, be it resolved that Big Rapids Mayor Frederick Gunther calls on the citizens of Big Rapids to recognize April 24th, 2024 as GFWC Federation Day in celebration of the founding of this esteemed organization in the city of Big Rapids. Be it further resolved that the mayor expresses much gratitude to GFWC Big Rapids and its members for their continued work in making Big Rapids and the surrounding communities a better place for all citizens. What's up? Thank you.
Linda, thank you so much for your group and all the work you do. I couldn't have read all that, it would have been a stumbling. Good job, Mark.
Thank you.
Next is the annual Arbor Day proclamation. I'm not going to read it. Every year, Big Rapids participates in Arbor Day and the Tree City USA program. And once again, Arbor Day is soon, April 26th. And we'll continue to plant trees, Mark.
Yes, we will.
Very good. How many this year did we plant?
Oh, Heather, we had a grant from, I want to say DTE or Consumers, which both have been very supportive in our tree efforts. We have, just in street trees and not, obviously we're not counting the trees in North End Park, but in street trees, we have, I want to say over 2,000, 2,500 range, and we try to plant 100, 150 every year.
Very good. Very good, Heather. Keep up the good work. We're going to do a study session for public input on the 2025 city budget. It's a requirement by law, and I'm gonna open that. It's not a hearing, it's just a study session, so feel free to raise your hand and comment on what you think we ought to be spending our money on, or what we shouldn't be spending our money on. Commissioners, anything? General public? Please, Rosemary.
It's the same repeat of every year, but I have to say it. I don't know what you've got in your budget, but I trust that our police department, our fire department are treated very kindly. They're here to protect us and do a job that many of us wouldn't do and couldn't do. And I hope that you're kind to the pool, and many of you know why. And the zinnias, and I'm done. Thank you.
General flowers on the corners and such?
Pardon?
How about all the flowers on the corners and such?
Oh, definitely.
Check. Anybody else? Then we'll close the study session. For all those who came for the recognitions, we're gonna go on and on for a while, and if you'd like to, excuse yourselves, we wouldn't feel at all. Thank you for a great dad, brother, husband. Thanks, Linda. for all the work your group does. Next, we have public comment not related to items on the agenda. Wide open to anything. You have 3 minutes, and identify yourself when you stand up. Please.
And my name's Jeff Petacola, lifetime resident of McCosta County. I used to be on the free concert committee that we had back in the seventies, eighties, nineties. And, at that time, I had suggested that they build the pavilion that they finally did build, the band shell, but that didn't go over when I suggested it. It did later. But I'm looking at Pocket Park. I've been going there since they started that series. And you've got the pavilion with no roof on it. And I have seen rain come across from over the top of the Raven. Nobody saw it coming. And the musicians scrambled to cover up their expensive equipment. You got everything there but a roof. And it doesn't look like it would take a heck of a lot unless Fleece and Vanderbrink get a hold of it. Excuse me, sorry. You know, it just doesn't look like it would be that involved. It would be a help to them maybe. You could do it with the clear corrugated stuff that's, I've got some on a building that's 20 years old that looks like new still. It'd just be something to think about when you get some more marijuana money or something like that, to slap a little cover over that would help somewhat in a downpour when nobody's expecting it.
Thank you. And the attendance has been growing every year.
Yes, it has been. It's a good thing. Keep it going, please.
Heather, you're in charge of parks, and that would probably be your bailiwick, or, yeah, there he is, behind you. Josh, thank you for the suggestion. Other comment, please, Rosemary.
Just a quick question, because I've had a lot of my seniors over there. Did the spring cleanup evidently not going to happen this year with Ferris?
That's correct. I just found out today, Mark, I think you found out today as well. Ferris has, canceled it for this year, uncertain how it'll proceed or whether it'll be the same. Is that how you read it? Listened to her voicemail.
No, you're right on, Mayor. I think there's ambition to maybe do something in the future. But what that looks like, if it's the same as the big event has been in the past, I think that's unknown at this time, it sounds like. Volunteerism maybe has changed. Student government has changed on campus, who is the driver for the big event. So they have some variables to work through.
And I think it's safe to say that Vice President was sad that it was ending, and
I agree.
other comments, please.
I have a comment about paving a street. I live on Hanson Street, which may be the only unpaved street in Big Rapids, I'm not sure, but I've noticed that other streets have been paved and repaved, and we're sitting there waiting to be paved. And I'd like to know if it's going to be paved and when.
Thank you.
I can speak to that, Mayor. Yeah, we have a goal of having all the streets paved. It's not the only one, but there's a small number, less than you can fit on one hand. And we have a stormwater issue, but I don't need to burden you with that. But there has been a goal, there continues to be a goal of staff and the city commission to pave all the streets in town. We've had it as a CIP request. I don't think we have it in this year's budget as of right now, but we can maybe take another look at that. And it's I know a priority because it's deserved, so.
After she spoke to me at an event, I drove down, is it kind of a modified alley street? The fronts of houses aren't mostly on that street, mostly garages. So I didn't know if I was on the right street.
No, I see what you mean. It's a layout is different than in a lot of places because a lot of there's not like because a lot of the houses that are front on it actually have the fronts of their houses on Bjornson, is what you're commenting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the layout of it is different, but then there are some that do front on it. No, it's a regular street. It's just the way they laid that neighborhood out is different than a lot of places we have.
And it's not a great road.
No, it needs paved. It needs, yeah, absolutely. But
Thank you. Thank you. Others? Hearing none, we'll keep moving. There's no public hearings today. The first important part of business is a resolution awarding the bid for the runway extension at Robin Hood Airport after 13 years of working on this. Is Steve? Steve's not here today, but Mark?
Sure, I'll tackle this one, Mayor. I think the commission is very familiar with this topic. As we've spent a great deal of time on it over the last month or two. We got bids from 5 different contractors in sort of 2 different forms. We had alternative 1 and alternative 2. Alternative 2 was the idea that we could do it without the wetland tree removal, and that doesn't appear to be an option at all. So what is being recommended to you this evening is the low bid from J&N Construction out of Gaylord for alternate 1. You have in your packet from Mead and Hunt a recommendation, Mead and Hunt, the engineers for the airport, a recommendation that addresses that, and then the details of the bid, which I know are in a very small format. Hopefully, maybe you could see them differently as they showed up on your computer. But this is the first step in making this project a reality, is awarding a bid to the contractor. So, I'm happy to answer any questions.
We are in somewhat of a push because we have earmarked funds for the airport. And if we don't have a secured contract, that'll go away. So do I hear a motion for the resolution awarding the bid for the runway extension?
So moved.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Further discussion? Anyone? And from the public, anyone? Hearing none, then I guess we'll call the question, please, Tammy.
Heffley?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Simmons?
Yes.
Next is a resolution completely related to the same. It's the intent to issue bonds for that improvement. Mark, wanna explain that a little bit?
Sure. So the contract, or the amount that was bid on by the contractor, the 2.1 million we just discussed, is part of an overall project cost that's right at about $4 million. And the city's portion of that, which then will be reimbursed over the next 4 or 5 years, is needing to be borrowed. And in order to do that bonding, we have to first, you also have in your packet a calendar provided by Mike Gormley from Northland Finance. And the first step is the notice of intent to do so. So it has to be, when a local unit wants to do borrowing, it has to be a public process. And we have to put it in the paper, which I know Tammy is spot on to do. And if it goes in by the 18th, that would put us then on track for doing more work later on this late spring and early summer. So this is the first step in borrowing the $925,000 that is the city's portion of the airport project.
And the majority of that is reimbursed with the yearly contribution from the FAA, correct?
That is correct, yep.
Questions? Anyone have questions about the airport and about the intent to buy bonds? Yes, please, Joe.
Anticipated finish?
They do tree removal in the winter, 24, 25 this coming winter, and then construction is next spring, summer. So I would think, mid to late summer next year would be completion of 25.
Yeah, the earmark ends May 1st,
Yeah, we have
so
to
we're
have
cutting this really close, and 1.8 million comes directly from the Fed. Our congressman helped us get that, which made this project possible. Anyone else? Is there a motion for the notice of intent to place bonds up for purchase?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Further questions? Hearing none, Tammy?
James?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Simmons?
Yes.
Heffley?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes. Now we'll go to community development to our dear friend Michelle Stenger. And she's going to present again, we're gonna try to do another resolution approving the social district. And Michelle, you wanna, it's a big, long handout, it's very well done. I had no questions after I read it, but go ahead.
That's correct. So this is a request to apply to the state to allow a social district in the downtown. It will be in our downtown footprint, Linden to Pine, State to Warren. I know there was concern about the Elks is not included in the boundary, but the rule is it just has to be touching the boundary. So that's why we didn't extend it to the Elks, but the Elks will be a part of the social district or be able to serve for the social district. So that is the application. Brad, before we went on vacation, reviewed our management plan, which is required by the state for the application, as well as Chief Haynes, and neither of them have any issues with what was in it. And so we're just here requesting, the DDA is very excited, as well as the other downtown businesses, and we're here requesting the social district to be approved.
Questions for Michelle or Mark or other? Commissioners, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the social district as we have recorded in the packet?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Further questions?
I had a question.
Please.
I noticed in the packet, we're getting a cottage and pizza. Where would that be located?
They haven't, I don't know, they've signed a lease, I don't know when they're opening, but it's across from the Penny's building. They're going in that vacant building,
Okay,
so I don't know their proposed open date.
okay. I was just wondering, thank you.
On the question, please, Tammy.
Johnson,
Yes.
Seven,
Yes.
Epley,
Yes.
Gunther,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Next is some business regarding the same project. We, as of right now, would have 2 parks in the social district where you could not drink alcohol. So this whole bunch of paperwork says you can carry your alcohol down to Mitchell Creek Park or into the Pocket Park. Is there anything else, Mark, on that? Why that?
No, you're correct. Our city code specifically names the parks where alcohol is allowed, and this is adding those 2 parks to that list. Just so you said, yep.
Questions? Commissioners? We're agreeable today.
We're not done yet.
Anyone, public, please.
One question. I'm not a big fan of this thing, but if it all goes south and you have a lot of problems, if you could revisit this and remove it if it.
You bet. We looked into that, and it's, to me, quite amazing as few problems cities have. I mean, Reed City really likes theirs.
Well, and I think the reason they're not a huge problem is because it's not the right to open carry all alcohol. It has to be alcohol that's bought within the social district from a participating restaurant.
It's all about the money is what it is, but good luck.
Can we call the question, please? Did we get a motion yet?
No.
This is an ordinance, so it'll take 4 votes. Is there a motion for the alcohol in the 2 parks?
So moved.
Support.
Motion and a support for a second. Further questions? Tammy, this is an ordinance.
Yes.
Epley,
Yes.
Gunther,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
The more interesting comment is what will the marijuana groups want? Do they want open smoking in the social district? That's what I think is gonna be the one that's gonna cause a lot of, interest. Next, a resolution amending the Fairman swimming pool fee schedule, Josh.
Yes, sir. So, this year, we're looking at a 9-week schedule. I've been asked to asked to investigate what a 10-week schedule could look like if it's possible. I don't hold out a whole lot of hope for that just because staff aren't back, staff aren't out of school, so running registration and open swims is very difficult to do in that situation. So we're looking at a 9-week season because schools won't get out until a week later than last year, but they're going back at the same time. So I wanted to amend the prices for this year to reflect that, and then going forward, considering a different price rate as well for a 10-week season.
Thank you. Anybody have questions for Heather or Josh or Mark regarding the pool?
I have a comment.
Please.
How about if, we make it free?
You took my thunder.
I did that on purpose. It takes you off the hot seat, puts me on. Carla, do you have any idea what the total revenue is that comes in for the passes and the open swims?
Not
Ballpark, Mark's got a budget there.
35,000.
I can, yeah, it's.
So you look at,
It's small, I mean.
it's small, it is
There's-
small.
there's-
There's two ways you could do this, I mean, if you're in support of it. One way would be is that we just absorb it through monies in the general fund. The other way is you assess a quarter of a mil, which would go strictly to the pool, couldn't be used for anything else. And excess could always be set aside for the Mars site, which needs to be done, and we know that's gonna be a costly thing down the road. The only thought I have, and I don't know if you've thought about this, what do you do with non-residents?
Charge?
Charge them more? Charge them?
No, I think the pool's important for all kids to learn how to swim and how to get that done. I think that we haven't asked the Parks and Rec, they're in charge of it, I think to jump into it right now without their input would be a little bit, probably not kosher. So, you know, my thought would be, get it all ready for next season. I think, you know, they haven't had a chance to even have a meeting or mention it. Mark? What do you?
When's their next meeting?
Oh, they meet the second Thursday of every month, so
So
May.
they've met for
Yeah.
April.
They met for
They just
April.
had, they maybe met last week, probably, so, but they'd have them.
And when is the pool scheduled to open, the open date?
June 10, pool open.
And the budget gets adopted in June. So it's.
First meeting in June.
First meeting in June, so it's not like,
It's possible is what you're saying.
yes. It's not like
Josh,
it's a
could you,
really hot topic.
I don't think this, I haven't heard any, but nobody has talked yet, so
No,
I,
just me and you.
but, would you be willing, would they be willing to put that on their agenda and
Yeah, I'd be
Act
happy to talk
quickly,
to
or-
them about that. And
how do you feel about it? You run the pool.
Yeah, I do.
I know.
I know a lot of people would be thrilled about it. I mean, whether it's a burden or not a burden, they'd be thrilled to be able to have a free amenity to come down and enjoy and get their kids in swim lessons for free, and especially people with the larger families that want to do it, and maybe it does become a burden for them at that point, so.
Other commissioners have comments? I'd like to hear what the others of you.
I think that this would be a great idea as long as it's supported. We have to have a way of supporting it. I'd hate to take away this fee schedule and then, knowing I did a little bit of background research, I do know that we don't bring in as much as what the pool takes to run, but I'd hate for this to be the thing that made us get rid of the pool years down the road. I would wanna make sure that we had something in place, some plan in place to make sure that there is protected funding for the pool, because having access to it, I think, is more valuable than having free access to it. So I'm all for the free, as long as there's a way to make sure we don't lose it 20 years from now because we did free.
Marijuana money? Use marijuana money on that?
We don't earmark our marijuana money. We put it in the general fund and treat it like it's like it should be treated.
Oh, there
Not-
it is.
Huh?
Take it out of the general fund.
Please.
I can make a comment to that. I'm an official townie, born and raised here. Swam in that pool when it was a mud hole.
Yeah.
Watched it grow. All three of my children went through from swimming lessons to being assistant managers of that pool. And the importance of that pool and what that pool does and gives for our community is extremely important and necessary. There have been a lot of children that have learned to swim, and Rosemary can attest to that, because she remembers those years going back. And I think it's really important, and if you can give the people of this community a free year, I think it's wonderful. That money, like he said, is in the general fund list. I don't live in town, but I support this town and I own a business in this town. And I think it would be very important, and I think it would be a great idea.
Rosemary, we would expect that you would still continue to be the pool's big donor.
Mayor.
Yep.
What do you think, Rosemary? Is it a good idea?
I think it would be fantastic, because over the years, we've supported some of the kids' swim lessons. There's kids out there that do not have the money for those swim lessons. And that's one mighty big important deal, is that these kids, I can't swim, but Susan, and you know, and I've preached it before, had her difficulties. She wouldn't have drowned underneath, ordinary circumstances. She learned to swim at that pool. Bill was in that pool with, not the pool, the little pond, the little river. I know.
Thank you, Rosemary. Josh, I don't hear any commissioners saying they'd be opposed, so could you carry this to the Parks and Rec and ask them? And if you get that answer, we could get it done if we so seem necessary. Anything, Commissioner?
I support it 100%. I would rather see this first year for us to try it out, maybe not make it the mill, right now. I'm sorry.
Big difference.
I meant,
That's
fractions
okay.
are important. The quarter mill, I would rather see us make this, try it this year and see how it goes. The one thing I thought was, what happens if it's so successful that you don't have the capacity to run as many lessons as there are people that want lessons? How just,
Problem to figure out.
That's a good problem.
It actually is. It's a
yeah,
good
no,
problem to
I
figure
just,
out.
I just think that,
Yeah.
and that's something certainly, I think there's even a pool subcommittee, that would know all about that and have an idea, so.
Very good. John?
I just like to, I think it's a great idea to look into, especially once the splash pad comes online. I could see that free amenity getting a lot more attention than the pool getting attention at that point. So if we make it free, then both our water amenities could be used fully by the community.
I would think if the city came out saying it's free for all, it'd be really a much easier fundraiser.
Yeah.
I think anyway, just the way as a citizen, well, they're giving it away, let's help them all. Anybody else? So, before us is the fee schedule change, which we very much could vote on and pass, cause if the Parks and Rec comes back saying, no, we don't wanna do that, we'd have this in place, like you said, Amanda. Do I hear a motion to approve the Fairman Pool fee schedule?
Before we make a motion, can I ask a question? Would we need to pass this, or is there an urgency to us passing or voting on this today?
We just don't have to bring it back, that's
Okay.
just to save time. Go ahead.
I would rather wait.
That's good,
Personally.
I don't care.
What about you guys?
I want it to be
Have all
free,
our
so it
options
doesn't matter to me.
before
And by the way, everyone, it really was his initial idea. If it flops, I don't want to take credit. It really was, and I just loved it, so I think it's a great idea.
My 3 kids also learned to swim at the Charles E. Fairman Pool.
Mayor Rosemary had something else.
I just wanna say, and I could get tears in my eyes, what a fantastic idea.
Good. Good. Hopefully the Parks and Recs will agree and we'll move on with it as quickly as possible for the summer. So I will leave that and not do a motion on that resolution. Where are we, these damn glasses? Oh, Joe. Joe's here. Mark?
Yes, sir. The Hanchett property, again, not a new topic for the city commission, has been for sale for many years. Our listing ran out at the end of December, beginning of January. We had previously had it listed, I think, at $340.
Correct.
There was some strategy behind, maybe let's just pause this a little bit instead of relisting it, just seeing what maybe the market forces might change or do. And I don't know that that worked or not, but we did get an offer that put the offered amount is $500,000. The commission is well aware of that. And that's a work in progress that we may or may not see sometime in the near future. But I know that there's only a couple ways the city can sell property. We can do public bids, or we can list it. And we have a contract with Joe for his services as a realtor, and I asked him for a listing agreement, which you have in your packet, that would list the Hanchett property at 906 North State Street at $500,000. That is up to the commission on how you want to handle it, and I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm sure Joe is too.
Go ahead.
Just some general thoughts on the property and the listing. Been for sale for a long time. There's been no shortage of interest. We've shared that before. We've had a lot of offers, a lot of interest, a lot of people bringing, grandiose ideas and really putting very little into actually putting some things on paper, presenting some viable plans that made sense. We've had some offers we had to turn down. I think that when we started this, especially the listing price conversation, we were thinking, we had some thought, maybe we lower the price, say, hey, listen, we're really motivated to make this happen with the right partner. I think that taking it down gives us an opportunity to reset and raise the price. Because ultimately we had kind of some charity cases come along. Kind of like, will you give it to us for free and maybe we'll hash something out in 5 years? We had a lot of that. And the difference to a developer that we're looking for between $340,000 and $500,000 is minuscule. So it's not. So I think it gives us an opportunity to raise the price back up, probably to where it would be comparable to other developments of that import. It's an incredible spot. It's just an incredible spot. And I think the city has done well to stick to its guns. I'm waiting for the perfect fit, because it's gonna be right in our faces for a long time, whatever ends up there. So
Thank you, Joe.
anyway, that's what I think.
Is there a motion to list the Hanchett property for sale?
So moved.
Support.
There's a motion and a second. Comments? No, it's not working. You're not working. Questions, comments? Hearing none.
James?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Simmons?
Yes.
Epley?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes. There is an appointment for a mayoral appointment to the planning commission. Mark?
I have recently met this gentleman, and I know his last name is not pronounced the way it's spelled, but I don't really know how you say it.
That's why I didn't.
So, his name is Sam, I'll call him Majorski. It's just a complicated name. He lives over on Rose Avenue. His in-laws live in town as well. He expressed a lot of belief in the community and wanting to get involved. And Commissioner Johnson, I believe, knows him personally better than I do, but I have no reason to think that he wouldn't be a great addition to the planning commission.
Very good. Questions, comments? Amanda?
He will be a wonderful addition. He's very motivated to build a better community for his family.
Good.
So, good person to have on the planning commission.
And he works with children as well, isn't that his?
I'm not sure if he does that. I knew him when he was in banking and insurance.
It's not that.
So,
Anybody else have a question about that appointment? Hearing none, do we need a motion for that one, or can I just? We need a motion. How about a motion?
so moved.
Second.
Comments, questions? Hearing none, Tammy?
Johnson?
Yes.
Simmons?
Yes.
Epley?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
unscheduled business, please?
Mayor, we have one addition to the agenda.
Yeah, it wasn't on my agenda.
You're right, and I apologize for that, and hoping you could consider what we would call 10F. And it's for some soil boring work that needs to, or is being required to happen along State Street as part of our State Street water main replacement project. And I was hoping, if it's okay with you, Todd Richter from Fleece is here, and maybe he could best explain, sort of the reason that this is before us right now, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Todd?
Thank you, Mayor. We have the proposal in front of you for soil borings on the State Street project. We've had a couple preliminary meetings with DOT. That is a DOT route there, so they will have to permit the placement of the water main. And the proposed method of construction involves a directional drill. And anywhere we have to cross the facility, we have to gather some soil boring information to assess the soils that are in the location of that. What we would do is bore and jack under the state route. At each location that we're crossing, and I believe there's 8 total locations that we need to cross, we would need to gather at least 2 borings. And if there's a median, then we have to add a 3rd boring in those locations in the median section. And then also the depth of those borings are at least 10 foot below what the bottom of a proposed casing elevation would be. So I think in total it's about 500 feet of boring that would need to happen, vertical feet of boring, approximately 22 locations. With that information, then we can assess the soils and have some comfort level that we're not going to undermine the highway when we do that boring work.
The obvious question is, why, I mean, Fleece has done a lot of engineering in their history. Why, is it a sudden thing that we're starting to have to do borings under every cross street?
No, it's not a sudden thing. On this one, we didn't know the full scope of what would be done out there, how many crossings there'd be, and how much they would want on the depth of the borings. We had anticipated having a handful of borings to assess the soil conditions out there. The other thing is they do want more of a soils analysis, so there's going to be some testing done of the soils to determine different parameters that we can evaluate the soil conditions for having stable boring crossings.
So if that were to come back positive, quote unquote, of some bad stuff, then we'd have to dig a trench and put the water line in a trench and cover it with appropriate soils? Is that the worst case scenario?
I mean, that would be the.
Why do it if you're not?
If you can't get a bore and jack across, I don't anticipate it.
This isn't a grant.
No.
So how much more of I mean, it's $52,000 to engineer it or to do it?
That's to collect the boring work.
The whole thing, engineer it, do it, analyze it.
Well, there shouldn't be any engineering.
It's not engineering, not design engineering, but it's soils engineering to determine the soils parameters.
So you guys are doing that yourselves or you're hiring a company? Cause there's companies that do that.
We would have a sub-consultant provide those services. For the boring work, we don't do that.
So who did you get quotes from to do it?
We got quotes from MTC, Materials Testing Consultants out of Grand Rapids, and Soils and Structures out of Muskegon.
Okay. That was a good answer, Mayor. In case you
Very
were
good.
wondering.
Very good.
You had a very good answer.
Others?
Thank you.
So the whole project could change if the borings aren't what you think?
In
other words, why do the borings if it's not, doesn't have a chance of changing the whole project?
Because the first preference is not to open cut the road.
Right.
So we wanna check it to see. I haven't run into that. I mean, if we get into some really bad soils that can't support it, or it would be how we go about doing that boring. Maybe we need some increased sheet pile or something to stabilize it.
Does that have anything to do with the water line breaking in front of McDonald's all the time?
That's gonna.
Does that mean the
replace
soil's bad under there?
No, I don't think it's necessarily poor soils in that location. I just think it's older water main that's prone to breaking.
Okay. Other questions for Todd? Anyone? Okay, then we need a motion for the resolution accepting the amended proposal for geotechnical investigation.
So moved.
Second.
Questions further before we vote? Tammy, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Heffley?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Other business to bring before the commission tonight. So we have our strategic planning coming next week, and there's a little agenda there, and Karen is gonna do a couple things, I'll do a couple things. It's gonna be a long and bring your,
Eat your Wheaties in the morning.
and order your sandwich, don't forget. Questions, comments? It'll be done here in a minute. Anyone? We're adjourned.